Think about this for a moment. You're going about your life, chasing your dreams and building your future, going to work, saving money, planning, traveling, living your life. And then one visit to a doctor changes everything. That's really what we're talking about today. How do you keep on keeping on after receiving a devastating diagnosis? What if you were 47 and found yourself living in a nursing home? My guest today is a living witness. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath for this because this story, this conversation that we're about to have, for me is personal because it's with a dear friend of mine. A few weeks back, I received a tweet that read, "Living in a nursing home at 47 is an eye-opening experience." And when I looked at the sender of the tweet, it was my next guest, Melissa Taylor, who joins me now. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Robert.
I got that tweet, Melissa, and I looked at the picture and I said, that looks like Melissa. And I went to my address book and found your numbers and called the numbers, and all the numbers that I had were incorrect. I sent you an email, you emailed me back, and you said, yes, that's me. And I had to take a deep breath because we began to share about you and what you have gone through since the last time that I saw you. I actually saw you, I remember, in 2000, I guess it was 2006 when we were sitting out in the park that day?
Yes, it was.
Around that time?
It actually had to be before that, 2004.
Okay, but take us back, Melissa, to the day that you were told that you have multiple sclerosis.
Well, there was great irony in that day because 2 days before I had just purchased a home. And I actually kept bugging my doctor, telling her I'm falling down for no apparent reason. And for some reason, she didn't want to believe what I was telling her. Finally, I had some MRIs done. And the results came. I got my house a closing on a Tuesday, and I got my diagnosis on a Thursday. Oh, my goodness.
So, Melissa, the doctor says to you, you have multiple sclerosis, and then how do you receive that information, and how does your life move forward after hearing that?
It's so funny. I was living my life dream. I quit my job 2 years before to be an artist, and most people thought I had lost my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So you know why I didn't get upset? Because for 2 years, I actually sold my artwork, and I was technically writing, doing whatever I wanted. To live a life and not do anything that makes your heart sing is to be dead. That's
Right.
worse than MS. I opened a store 2 months after my diagnosis. So I was already on a spiritual path. Am I happy about having MS? No. Am I still living my life? Yes. I didn't take it as a death sentence. If anything, it honed my spiritual skills.
Melissa, we go back to 1991, and I first met you in a job situation and noticed you doing your job and with one hand, and the other hand, you were hand painting these wonderful, beautiful greeting cards. And in the years since I've known you, you've always been an actress, a playwright, a producer, a writer. The list goes on and on and on. So I'm wondering, how did you think this diagnosis was going to shape all of the activities and the artist in you? How did you think it would affect the artistic Melissa?
Well, I don't have any children. My art, the pieces of art I create, whether it's writing a play or doing a painting, are my children. That is the legacy I was leaving on the planet anyway. Having the disease, believe it or not, it hones you. It makes you get very serious about, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to procrastinate. I have my 2 plays. I actually wrote a play that the staff is going to do here at the nursing home, and I started the drama ministry at my church. Chronic illness, all it did was change the trajectory of where I wanted to take my art.
Right. Now, the day that you found out that you had multiple sclerosis, you walked into that doctor's office. When I spoke to you recently in that first conversation we had after you sent the tweet, you said to me, very parenthetically, I might add, oh yeah, and I can't walk anymore and I'm in a wheelchair. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. So at some point you went from being able to walk to not being able to walk. Can you share with us a little bit about that process?
See, again, I have lost a child and held its body in my hands. I have dealt with taking care of an ill mother at 19 until she died. In other words, I have been hit with some very hefty life issues. See, here's the thing. If I had gotten the diagnosis and didn't do what I wanted to do, I would be sitting here in regret and worrying about not being able to walk. But because I opened my store, it was Homegrown Creations on U Street. I had so much fun. Do you understand? I had fun. I always tell people I'm going to have fun at my own funeral. My mindset was already in place, as if the Lord prepared me for what was coming. And all that's happening to me now, I have lost sight in one eye, and it came back. My arm stopped working and then went back. Now I'm walking on a walker, so I'm learning to walk again. I'm trying to do what my doctor said, and that is trying to teach other parts of my brain to compensate for what is lacking. I can sit here and think suicidal thoughts or thoughts along that line, or I can live. I'm going to live till I die.
Amen.
Melissa, you're the perfect example of the power of the mind and the strength of the human spirit.
Thank you.
Perfect example of that.
And I do know that every day is not a mountaintop day. And you and I are friends, and I've shared with you there have been periods in my life when I have really been depressed and could get out of bed and go to work, but certainly there was a malaise over my life. Do you have periods that are extremely low that you can directly attribute to this disease?
The irony is I suffer from depression, have done that all my life. The disease has exacerbated it. Yes, some days, and I say to the nurses here at the nursing home, I said, well, today the bear is biting me. You know, most days I bite the bear.
You mentioned the nursing home. How, and I can tell your age because you told me it's okay.
Yes.
You're 47.
Yes.
How did you come to live in a nursing home at 47?
Well, it was two reasons. It had to do with I'm on Medicaid, DC Medicaid, and I was living in Maryland when I had an exacerbation, which is like an outbreak you have during MS. That's how you depreciate. That's exactly what I had last year. My MS spread to the top of my spinal column. That's what affected my walking. So after living in Maryland, you can't get your benefits unless you live in D.C. if you have D.C. Medicaid. So I ended up going from Providence when I first had my exacerbation. Then they sent me to National Rehab. And from National Rehab, I was there for 3 weeks when the social worker came in and said, well, we have to give you a permanent D.C. address. And it ended up being in a nursing home. I'm only here temporarily, but can I just tell you how surreal it is? It is surreal to be 47 years of age, living among seniors. But because of it, it also changed the trajectory of my life. I want to be a patient advocate. I now see there needs to be senior care reform.
Can you give us a sense of what your day is like as the youngest person in this nursing facility that you're currently in? What is a typical day like for you?
The generation gap, sometimes I fall right into the generation gap. On a typical day, I say I do my rounds. I have gotten to know a lot of patients, and I know all the staff here. So I get dressed in the morning. Back to what you were asking me earlier, some mornings I get up and I'm just fine. And when I mean just fine, I can maneuver within the realm of my parameters. Other mornings I have fallen and can't get up, just like the commercial. I fall, I can't get up. That's me. I've been on the floor, and let me tell you, you look up and you say to yourself, oh, my Lord, I have lost the ability to stand up on my own. First of all, I just fell, and I didn't fall kind of easy. I fell hard. So you check and see if you didn't break an arm or a hip. Then, after I get help, and then they have to write an incident report, and I'm like, oh, man. The difficulty, the darker side of MS is when you live a healthy life with no provocation, and then suddenly you're being placed in this, it feels like somebody are trying to place chains around how far you can go in this world. I have never lived with parameters. Now I have them. You know, until the soul is free, we live within these bodies.
That's right.
And we have to treat them with respect.
Melissa, now I know that you are also the caregiver, primary caregiver, to your father, who is in New York.
Correct.
And so how has that been now that you are focusing on your own health and well-being and healing to also have to care for your father?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm glad that I was okay when he first got ill. So I was able to take care of his needs, sell his house, take care of his finance, make sure he's in a good nursing home. And that happened like years before I got sick. Now, I have to admit, I haven't told him the depths of my illness. And he's saying, when are you coming to visit? And, you know, I have to keep putting him off, but you just roll with it. And now I know why he protected me from certain things as a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
How old is your father, Melissa?
He is going to be 88 on March 9th.
What do you see in the days ahead for you as you continue to live with multiple sclerosis?
What I see is I have to make arrangements for myself. I'm only here temporarily. My intent is to go into my own home. I will invite you
Absolutely.
both to my place.
You better invite us to your place.
Love that.
Have a great day, Melissa, and thank you for joining us.
I love you, Robert. I love you. And I love you not just because you're my friend, but because you're using your life and your abilities to inform and help others. And I love you for that.